Yikes, who'd have thought politician was up there with drug dealer? Here are the 10 highest paying illegal jobs in the world. Number 10 is a corrupt politician. Working in politics can be grueling work without much thanks, but it has the potential to be pretty lucrative. And no, not just in post-presidency book deals. The biggest criminals in the world don't get where they are without knowing who to pay off. The same goes for big businesses who want tax breaks or fewer regulations. And many politicians are willing to look the other way for the right price. In 2014, a California state senator, Leland Yee, was arrested for taking part in the illegal gun trade and for accepting at least $43,000 in bribes to influence legislation. In March of 2017, South Korean President Park Geun-hye was arrested and booted from office for corruption. She was accused of taking bribes from corporations like Samsung to ignore questionable business practices, and for working with her top advisor, Choi Sun-sil, for getting businesses to donate $69 million to her nonprofits. Number 9 is a drug smuggler. Drug smugglers are responsible for getting the goods across borders and past law enforcement. Millions of dollars worth of drugs can be in a single shipment, and if a job goes well, smugglers can be entitled to a big percentage of that. In April of 2015, two smugglers, Mumin Sahin and Emin Osman, were caught off the coast of Aberdeenshire in a ship carrying 3.2 tons of pure cocaine with a street value of over 512 million pounds. Smugglers who work alone are usually young and are known as mules. When traveling through airports, mules will actually swallow small baggies of drugs while traveling, especially through airports, then use laxatives to pass them. As a teenager in the early 2000s, Danny Santos began driving drugs across the El Paso-Juarez border between the United States and Mexico for a drug cartel. Over 4 years and 20 runs, he made well over $50,000. Number 8 is a panhandler. Do you like the outdoors, interacting with the public? Do you have excellent sign-making skills? Then a career in panhandling might be for you. Of course, not all panhandlers are there by choice, and we can only hope that life doesn't throw us a curve and put us on the street. But some people have practically made it an art and are making way more than minimum wage. Busking for cash usually requires a permit if you don't want a fine, of course, and aggressive panhandling is generally illegal. In 2012, 45-year-old Shane Spiegel was arrested for panhandling without a permit in Oklahoma City. When the cops asked him why he didn't get a job, he made a legitimate argument that he didn't want to because he was already making $60,000 a year. Even crazier is in Lexington, Kentucky, a man named Gary Thompson claimed to be making up to $100,000 a year exploiting people's good nature by pretending to be mentally and physically disabled. Number 7 is an illegal wildlife trader. The illegal poaching of wildlife has been a huge problem for years, and largely centered around ivory, but that's only gotten worse as the business has moved online. Demand is still high for animals used in traditional medicines or delicacies, like a single whale shark fin, which can sell for up to $20,000, or even animals like monkeys or tropical birds that can sell as pets. In 2010, the Kaiser spotted newt from Iran became one of the first pet species to be on the brink of extinction, with only about 1,000 left in the wild thanks to illegal online sales. In May of 2017, a 62-year-old Vietnamese woman was caught at the Tan Son Nhat airport with $88,000 worth of animal parts, including ivory, tiger skins, and even elephant tails. In fact, the black market wildlife trade is estimated to be worth at least $10 billion. The penalties for wildlife trafficking depends on the country, but there's support from the UN to make it a serious international crime. Number 6 is an escort. Every industry runs on a scale of low to high end, and the sex industry is no different. There's a less than flattering stereotype of sex workers on street corners, but that's a world away from the life of a high-end escort. Despite the association with sex work, escorts don't just get down and dirty. They can also literally just escort, as in accompany some rich dude to a fancy event or just out for a date. But of course, the fee goes up if the night ends in, the bedroom. For their services, escorts can make up to $5,500 an hour. But that's not all just take-home money. There's a lot that goes to keeping up a polished appearance and to an agency also known as a procurer, aka an equally high-end pimp, who takes a cut. They're the ones that set up the meetings and generally keep things safe by vetting clients. While also less than legal, procurers can make up to $33,000 a week. The punishments for sex work can vary and range from fines to jail time. Number 5 is an assassin. Assassins have been around for centuries, carrying out surprise murders on unlucky targets. They're usually associated with undercover military operations, but since there are people willing to pay good money to get rid of their enemies, some assassins have gone into the business for themselves, becoming hitman for hire. In Britain, researchers found that contracting a killer cost an average of £15,000, but can go as low as a couple hundred. Depending on the target and who's paying, the price can go way up. Gary Johnson, a Texas undercover hitman, once had his services solicited by a wealthy socialite who gave him $200,000 worth of jewelry just as a down payment for the murder of her husband. The internet, providing access to the dark web or even ads on Craigslist, has made it even easier to hire a hitman. But getting caught is very bad news for both parties and will likely end up with lengthy prison sentences. Number 4 is embezzlement. Embezzlement is financial fraud and theft that can take many different forms. The most infamous cases are Ponzi schemes, like the one run by Bernie Madoff. But embezzlement isn't always so flashy and can even happen to small businesses. Typically, an employee will steal funds little by little over years. The idea is by only taking small amounts, the theft won't be noticed, but over time it adds up to stacks on stacks. Marquet International, a security consulting firm in the United States, profiled the typical thief as a respectable woman in her early 40s, with a good job including healthcare and paid vacation, and likely working with the company's finances. And people with gambling problems were more likely to start stealing, but on average, men stole 2.5 times more than women. In 2013, the average loss was $1.1 million, but since it was a white-collar crime, the average prison sentence is only 4 years. Number 3 is weapons trafficking. The weapons trade, both legal and illegal, is a massive industry. A big part of the illegal trade is the smuggling of weapons that have been outlawed in certain countries. The global weapons market has an estimated annual value of $60 billion, and black market deals can make up to 20% of that. In the 1990s, the Russian arms dealer Viktor Bout, also known as the Merchant of Death, was estimated to be making $50 million a year illegally, selling weapons to terrorist groups like the Taliban, Al-Qaeda, and militant groups in Africa. It's gotten easier to get into the market too, thanks to the internet, especially in the United States, where it's legal to buy guns online. It's ideal for sellers like Michael Andrew Ryan, aka Gunrunner from Kansas, who up until he was arrested in 2016 was using the dark web to illegally sell and ship semi-automatic weapons and ammunitions to countries like Ireland, England, and Australia. Number 2 is a hacker. Cybercrime is big business, and if you're a hacker with loose morals, it can mean big bucks. Nowadays, hackers work within highly organized gangs that are arguably as powerful as nations and are responsible for 80% of all cybercrime. Cybercrime is pretty diverse and can include everything from stealing social security numbers to hacking into state security systems. In 2008, the Russian mafia, considered to be one of the biggest cybercrime gangs in the world, hacked into ATMs and stole $9 million from people's accounts without breaking a sweat. Another tactic is holding data for ransom. In September of 2013, the ransomware CryptoLocker attacked thousands of computers by blocking access to files and threatening to delete them if a $400 ransom wasn't paid. It's estimated that the hackers behind it extorted a cool $3 million. The estimated cost to the economy from hacking is anywhere from $445 billion up to $2.1 trillion by 2019. And number 1 is a drug lord. Drug lords are the head honchos in control of huge networks of people working in the illegal drug trade. That means everyone from growers to producers to dealers on the street. But running such a massive underground operation isn't without its payoffs. The Bolivian drug lord Roberto Suarez Gomez reportedly made $400 million a year, and he definitely had money lying around when, in 1983, he offered to pay off Bolivia's foreign debt of $3.8 billion just to have his son son released from US custody. And probably the most infamous drug lord in history was Colombian drug lord Pablo Escobar, who was responsible for up to 80% of the cocaine that was being smuggled into the United States in the 1980s and 90s, and was reportedly worth $30 billion. Of course, it's not all swimming in pools of cash like Scrooge McDuck. Drug lords definitely lead a dangerous life and have a pesky habit of dying in a hail of bullets. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching this. On the right, you'll find 2 of my most recent videos that you can click right now if you want to watch more, and subscribe because I'll have a brand new video for you soon. Thanks for watching.